Thank you. First, let me say it is truly an honor to have been called upon to give choice to this great person who has made this great accomplishment. Dwayne, we do honor you. And all who have spoken, it was interesting to just sit back and listen to your fond memories of this man growing up. And your selection of the song from Beverly was Mine Forever plus 2 days, and it has to be eternity. It seemed like every time I would call on Beverly to sing, it was, I put my trust in you, or the Lord will make a way somehow. She was very good at those two songs. It was good hearing you again, Bev. This accomplishment that Dwayne has made certainly rests real deep in our hearts, because we understand that the sacrifice that he has made to get here, it was not an easy road. He paid a lot of prices. The cost was tremendous, but we can look now and say he made it.
Amen.
The interesting thing about it all was he forever kept God in front of him. Even as a teenager, when I first really started watching Dwayne there at Antioch, he was a little bit ahead of the rest of his age group. He was being called to do adult tasks at Antioch even as a teenager. I remember one fun time when Brother Simonton, Dwayne was an usher then, a junior usher then, but I guess he wanted to tell Brother Simonton how to run the usher board. And Brother Simonton ran in the office that same morning, I'm going to whip him, I'm going to whip that little blinker. Well, slow down and tell me what happened. He's out there trying to tell me what's going on. Growing up, he's the kid. I said, so you know that assignment you gave him the other week? That was really an adult assignment. All he's trying to do is on the assignment. So that means he's adult? No, I don't mean that. But Dwayne was always ahead of his age group. He was always able to take on to himself adult responsibilities. And he handled them not only wisely, but thoroughly. And I was always amazed. I knew that the road would be, the sky would be the limit for Dwayne. But this particular moment, although it may be somewhat of a surprise to Dwayne, maybe somewhat of a surprise to us that he could come to this accomplishment, I was told by my daddy that nothing happens in life by accident.
That's right.
My daddy told me that whatever we are able to accomplish, God had it in his mind even before we were conceived.
That's right.
That said to me that before Dwayne was conceived from his mother's womb, God knew of this very moment.
That's right.
He knew that Dwayne would walk across the stage a doctor, a PhD. He knew that Dwayne might have to travel a hard road to get there, but one thing he did say, he would be with him.
That's right.
My daddy also said that when you make an accomplishment, you have to also understand responsibility comes along with it.
Yeah.
And the greater the accomplishment, the greater the responsibility. Nothing happens but where you have to treat it as God had planned it to be treated. So this great accomplishment, PhD, means that Dwayne, if he was busy yesterday, he's going to be super busy today and tomorrow, because God will expect more of him now, because God has given him more. He has empowered him more. It is not time that Dwayne can sit back and say, I can rest. I've got the bachelor, I've got the master's, now I have the PhD. I can sit back and kind of enjoy myself for a moment. No, this is the time when you will be the most busy, because God will stir you every day to pay the price for the gift that he has given you. Did you hear me? To pay the price for the gift that he has given you. The way that he has brought you now to this moment, God will say, you owe me even more.
That's right.
Dwayne's getting up in the morning will be a time with God that God said, this is your day. At the end of that day, it will be a time when Dwayne will have with God, and God will say, how was the day? And Dwayne must report to God how that day was. He got his instructions at the beginning of the day. Now, at the end of the day, he must report to God. Because God don't give these kinds of gifts without expecting something back in return.
That's right.
So Dwayne will be he's always been a busy person. Selena said, he came, we needed an organist, he jumped on the organ, needed a piano, he jumped on, and then he had to learn how to do those things because that was his spirit. But now that God has empowered, now that God has endowed, now that when God visits Dwayne, he will say, what of the day? What did you do with the day as we talked this morning? Isn't that awesome? As we talked this morning and laid out this day of all that I would have you do, now I come to you and say, what of the day? Did you do what I asked of you this morning? Now there is no time for rest to do those kinds of things. It will mean a day filled with work and more work and more work. But it's something interesting about God. After you have reported that evening, then he says, now rest, because the morning will be here real soon. But rest this night. You have peaceful nights when you have worked the day as God has bid you work the day. You don't toss and turn and twist and wonder and scream. You have restful nights because you have reported to God. And you also know the morning is quickly coming when I must return back to work.
That's right.
So Dwayne, we love you, we encourage you, but man, the work's on you.